This is the info session for the Conrad and Hilton Policy and Systems Change Fellowship that we are going to be running and operating here at Social Justice Partners Los Angeles. My name's Kelly. I'm the director of the Racial Equity Initiative. I'm really happy to see so many of you, old friends, new friends. Just wanted to give a quick overview. We like to orient folks to who we are. So SJP, Social Justice Partners Los Angeles, we run a racial equity and homelessness initiative. And I often say that at its core, this initiative is about people. It is about the individual people that work every day to end homelessness across Los Angeles County. We don't talk too much about the how, the big solutions, about the systems challenges. We talk about what it means to be individuals working in a system that's really hard and really complicated, and what we need to do for ourselves as individual leaders to shore up our reserves and to really put our best foot forward to bring our neighbors inside. So the initiative is three prongs. We focus on recruiting new talent into the sector, equipping existing talent with the skills and the connections that they need to really center racial equity. And then we try to retain talent and individuals across the sector really by changing culture. So this is shifting policy and practices within the workplace. And all of that, we hope, trickles out into the solutions that we use to end homelessness across Los Angeles County. So we've got three streams of work. This Policy and Systems Change Fellowship lies squarely in our recruit stream of work. The goal is to bring in a new group of individuals to public sector institutions through that. So we also run another fellowship. So don't be confused. We run a racial equity fellowship for more seasoned or to senior leader level folks. That's just a monthly fellowship. We run Healing Justice and Wellbeing series. If you're on our email list, you'll get blasted about those. And then in our retention bucket, we run a round of frontline worker stipends. We'll be rolling out a well-being fund, a grant process later this year or early next year. We do a living wage study to look at pay equity across the sector. And we work with CEOs and executive directors who want to focus on centering racial equity in their organization. So it's a little mouthful of what we do. So I'll talk about the Hilton Fellowship. So the Conrad and Hilton Policy and Systems Change Fellowship was really designed to bring up a new generation of public sector leaders. And I know I say new generation doesn't mean age, but just literally a new group of public sector leaders. When I say public sector, I mean government. So city, county government, quasi-governmental entities like LAHSA, elected officials, all of that stuff. And the goal is really to close the gap between the policies and funding decisions that are happening in the public sector and really the lived experience and practicality of what's happening out in the field at providers. We want to focus on multi-directional leadership, mentorship, and learning. So we know that executive leaders in the public sector have tons of experience. And we also know that individuals with firsthand experience of homelessness, with lived experience, frontline direct service work, and individuals who've worked at nonprofits have tons of experience as well. So we believe in really bridging that gap. Social Justice Partners, as I said, our goal is to invest in, expand, and connect communities, advancing racial justice. We are going to be the sort of operators and designers of this initiative alongside a lot of other partners. And we have a host of programs here at SJPLA as well.
I'm going to go over some of the fellowship supports, fellowship details, a lot of these things you know, but let's go over this together. Again, the Hilton Fellowship, in short, Hilton Fellowship is a 2-year full-time paid fellowship. It is an $85,000 stipend per year. So $85,000 year one, $85,000 year two, paid semi-monthly. There will be cohort models. So you'll be with your Hilton Fellow cohort. We'll have quarterly peer learning and support sessions. This is a little bit different from the Racial Equity Fellowship where we meet monthly. Because you'll be doing this as a full-time position, working at a public agency, we're gonna actually just do less of those support sessions, but we'll meet every few months. Also, you have an opportunity to connect with our SJPLA network, which includes the Racial Equity Fellows. It could include the C-suite cohort that we meet with, could include our Systems Change Accelerator program. There's kind of just a large community that we want to connect to the Hilton Fellows to. In this position, when you're working full-time, you will be working with an executive level supervisor. And then one key detail, we are doing our first cohort beginning January 2023. So that's when the first cohort of maybe 6 to maybe up to 8 or 9 fellows will participate in cohort 1. And then we're going to have cohort 2 begin September 2020. So we're going to do the selection process right now in the fall for January, and then we're going to go right ahead and do the selection again in the spring for September 2023 start date. Now, and we'll probably get into this in the Q&A, but there's one small thing in the very bottom. Again, $85,000 stipend per year paid semi-monthly, but stipends are taxable. So SJP will report payments to the IRS and issue a 1099. So this is so Hilton Fellows will be responsible for securing their own medical, dental, and vision insurance. We also have today with us Yolanda, who is our Sustainable Operations Manager, who can answer some questions when we get to the Q&A section.
As Frank said, this is a job per se. It's a fellowship. You'll be a fellow, but it's a full-time placement at a work site. So it's very different than other like professional development programs, or maybe even an internship that you do in college. You'll be a full-time fellow / employee of a public sector entity, regular work hours, all of that good stuff. We are working, as Frank said, to secure host sites for the fellows. So these are possible public agency sites where we envision fellows being hosted and being able to work at. So at the LA County Homeless Initiative, which many of you know is situated in the county CEO's office, they oversee all of the Measure H implementation, all of the good things. Super important shop in the county. DHS, Housing for Health, the Los Angeles County Development Authority, formerly HCOLA, so the sort of the countywide housing agency, LAHSA, as many of you know, Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, the City of Pasadena Housing Department, possibly a couple city council offices across Los Angeles, and more agencies for cohort 2. So as Frank said, the goal is at least 6 fellows in this cohort, maybe up to 8 or 9. And then again, we'll launch another cohort that will start in September of next year, which also might have some placements at these places or others. In the past, this fellowship has been hosted at some sites in the city of Long Beach, also with some LA County supervisor offices. So the sites will vary, but Frank will talk through the timeline later today, and you'll get to know like what the sites are. You'll get to choose each other. So we're not just going to place you at a random site, but these are some of the possible site placement options. You can expect to channel all your passion, all your experience into transforming systems and policies. So this is a policy and systems change fellowship. A lot of you probably have direct service backgrounds, or maybe you've worked, behind in back office stuff, HR, admin, finance, and you'll get to take all of that experience from working for nonprofits, from your lived experience, and apply that within a public sector setting. You'll receive executive level supervision and support. So each of our host sites are committing to an executive level supervisor. So you're not going to come in as a fellow, as the intern that's grabbing coffee for people. You will actually have a substantial portfolio of work and be responsible for actual projects, and have the supervision of an executive or senior level leader. You'll get to connect, as Frank said, with our racial equity fellows, our alumni. Our network is your network. Once you're in the family, you're part of the family. And you'll increase your opportunities or your chances for future employment in the public or nonprofit sector. So this is a 2-year fellow. For those of you that have worked in the public sector in the past or are thinking of it, you know that oftentimes to apply for those roles, to get on this list per se, you have to have a certain level of skills and experience, and oftentimes experience working in those institutions. So this will give you 2 years of public sector leadership experience and allow you to qualify for higher items or higher positions. So that's what you can expect. That's some of the places you might be working.
Let's go ahead and jump back into eligibility requirements. Okay, so if you saw, and I'm going to get to this in the selection process, if you notice in the selection process, you probably saw that there is an eligibility form deadline as well as an application deadline. I'm going to get to that in a second in case that has caused some confusion. But in order to be invited to apply for the Hilton Fellowship, you need to fill out an eligibility form, which you probably saw on the website, SJPLA's website. The form is pretty straightforward and pretty quick to complete, maybe 1 or 2 narrative questions. But this is what we're going to be looking for to invite people to apply. Here are some of the requirements. Commitment, of course, to work in the public sector for 2 years, full-time, like it's a full-time job, position, just like any other job, for 2 years. Possessing curiosity and drive to better understand public sector systems. Go in with the hat of wanting to learn, taking as much as you can from your executive level senior leader, and also the network within SJP. Having 3 to 5+ years of experience in homeless service delivery, frontline work. We definitely want to have that lens perspective, all those learnings, all that experience to go into the public sector, really to inform some of the policies and the systems that have been created and that we seek to hopefully change and transform. Another eligibility requirement has direct, lived, or proximate experience of homelessness. And again, we have quarterly sessions, so must attend all 8 quarterly sessions throughout the 2 years. And then lastly is bachelor's degree or higher. And this is, in terms of bachelor's degree, this is just kind of a basic requirement for a public sector job. Now, I'm going to go into a lot of detail here in the selection. So please bear with me, take some notes. And if not, we're going to actually have this recording on the website in case you want to refer to it a little bit later on. So to Angie's question, I'm going to get to this in a second, September 16th, which is coming up in a few days, eligibility forms are due. Again, it's a short kind of 1 page, hopefully it's rather quick in filling out. We will scan that as SJP, and then we will invite candidates to apply. So when you are invited to apply, if you meet the eligibility requirements and you're invited to apply, we will give you a link to the application form. And in that webpage, you will see all the job profiles. So hopefully by that time, we will have secured 5 to 6 public agency sites. And in that, you'll see a brief description of the agency. You might see a little bit more information about the projects that you'll be working on. You'll see some of their qualifications, essential functions, basically just get a good snapshot of what the job entails at LASA, at the city of Pasadena, etc. And you'll also see who's confirmed for the site supervisor of that particular agency. Once you look over those job profiles of 5 to 6 different sites, you will have 3 weeks to submit your application on October 12th. And in the application, you'll fill out this form. Again, it'll probably be pretty straightforward in terms of a second form, but you would also have to submit a resume, 2 references, and a top 3 ranking. And what I mean by that is when you look at the different sites, you might say, I really like this public agency site, this one and this one. I'm not too interested in this particular one. You will let us know in the form. We'll give you a place where you can mark, this is my #1 ranking. I really want to work at this site. And this is my top 2, this is my top 3. This will give us a sense of what you're interested in. And then we will go ahead and send those applications. We'll send a select number of applications if they meet certain qualifications of that job, and we'll send that over to the site supervisor for review. They will contact your references, they will look over your resume, and then you will be invited by the site supervisor, by the public agency site for an interview. Now, please save the date, October 24th to the 27th. If your application is received by a site and they want to interview you, they will conduct an interview with you during these dates. Now, we're going to try to get as many interviews done during these 4 days of interview week at the end of October. Just know that public agency sites are probably going to interview a number of you. They could interview 5, maybe even 6 or 7 during the course of that week. Once that is done, the site will let us know who are their top matches, who they want to be matched with. And then SJP is going to propose a match, and we'll have a double opt-in process. Again, this is a lot of details, but a double opt-in process meaning that we will look at how applicants rank the sites, and then we will look at how the sites rank the applicants, and then we will propose a match. So we will go to the sites first and say, we want to propose Frank as a match with your site. Is this something that you would want to do, that you want to confirm? If they say yes, that's 1. And then we will go to Frank, in my case, and say, we would like to propose to you this site. Is this something that you want to confirm? And if we get a double opt-in, then we will confirm the match. And in which case, when your match is confirmed, then you are, welcome, a Hilton Fellow. Now, the process of matching might take longer than just that week and even the week prior. So just know from October all the way to December, we will continue to do matches. So in rare situations or in easy situations, there might be the site ranks this person number one and that person ranks the site number one. That's an easy match, if this makes sense. But it might come down to if the site says, I interviewed several candidates or applicants, I'd like to see more applicants and see if this would be a better match than the ones that you send us. Then we'll continue to do interviews. So between October 31st and December 16th, which is a big runway, we'll probably do a few more interviews. We'll try to do the double opt-in matches. Once you are matched and you're a Hilton Fellow, then we'll start the orientation, which on our side will be getting you set up for payment process, which will begin in January 2023. Depending on your agency, there might be some site onboarding if you need to get some clearance, if you need to get some, whatever it might be, whatever the site onboarding process will be. So you'll onboard with the site, you will do some orientation with us, and that's when you'll begin to make your plans on actually putting your job, putting in your 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it might be, and setting that part up. And then last but not least, January 2023, there's no set date, but your fellowship will start roughly within the first 2 weeks of January. This all depends on when your particular site says January 2nd, January 6th is your start date. We will have our first quarterly session, and believe it's in the third week of that January as a welcome. And then again, not meet until probably, I think, April or so. So I'm gonna pause there. Kelly, I went through a lot of stuff, so appreciate your patience. Kelly, if there's anything that I probably missed in this selection process.
No, I thought it was great. Yeah, curious
Yeah.
if folks have questions or.
Yeah. So we're going to get into questions right after this, but one thing I will note. So as you're probably going through the selection process explanation, you might say, okay, so I submitted an eligibility form. I didn't get an invitation to apply. So that means that perhaps you didn't meet the eligibility requirements. Can I apply for cohort 2? Yes. And that, again, cohort 2 will start. The selection process will restart in the spring of 2023. And then again, cohort 2 will start September 2023. So you can apply again for cohort 2 later on. If you were invited to apply, but you didn't get an interview, same thing. We could defer your application for cohort 2. Again, as we get more sites in, hopefully we'll get another 6 or more sites for cohort 2. Then you could defer your application for cohort 2. What if in the case of you got an interview, SJP proposed a match to you, maybe it wasn't your number 1, maybe it wasn't your number 2, but probably it was your number 3. And we said, would you like to take your number 3 site? You have the choice. And again, this is where the double opt-in comes in. You could say, you know what, after some thought, I've decided that I don't want to confirm that match, and I would like to defer my application to cohort 2 and wait for more possible sites. Maybe you'd like to work with a council office or a county supervisor. You could do that. Again, since this is a big deal of I'm committing for 2 years, I'm quitting my current job. Yes, I'll be paid $85K, but it's also, I got to get taxed on that, and I got to do health insurance, medical insurance, etc. I need a little bit more time. So you could totally do that. We are not going to say, this is your match. You have to work with this particular agency. You could say, I like to have more time. It's a big decision. Totally understand that.
I will always say this, if you're ever on an info session or you're ever with me, your interest in this is a sign to just keep investing in yourself. Keep putting it out to the universe, God, whomever, whatever, that you are looking to grow as a professional and as a leader. And so I would say start talking to your people, meaning your family. If you have kids or you're a family and you're thinking of quitting your job, then you'll need to check in with them. You don't want to quit your job. This does not have benefits. You're going to get a stipend every other 2 weeks. weeks that will be equal to $85,000 over the year. You'll have to pay taxes on that on your own. So you really need to be clear. If you have someone else around you, family, kids, whatever, I would say talk to them, and then also talk to your bosses. Like we said, if you're like, man, I really want this opportunity, I know something's off, then start talking to your bosses, your mentors, your friends, and start exploring other opportunities, even if it's not just this one. And Frank said we'll send lots of resources, and we'll also send a list of other fellowships and professional development opportunities that happen all across LA, even if it's not just with us. So really, really grateful for you all for being here, for watching this, and we hope to see your applications.